Hello, Grand Park community. It's Courtney. Welcome to your Yoga Ala retreat. I'm really glad you're here today to practice. I want today to be a check-in. So I know I'm feeling a lot of things. I know our world is feeling a lot of things, and yoga to me has always been an opportunity to not necessarily move away from the world, but to move more inside myself so that I can respond to the world in a clearer and more grounded way. So I invite you here to find a tall spine. So grounding down into a seat, sending your shoulders away from your ears. You could do this part in a chair if that's more comfortable. And then go ahead and find a positioning of your hands that feels steady. So most of us, that probably would be palms down on the thighs. But if there's another way that your palms feel more steady and stable, go ahead and let them rest in that way. And then from here, go ahead and close your eyes. Start to notice your breath. Without shifting it too much, just notice what the breath is telling you about your state of being. So is the breath shallow? Is it short? Is it quick? Is it not really existing very fully? Just notice. And then notice how you're holding your body in space. So are you still kind of like gripping or grasping in some way? Checking in with your mental space. So where is the mind right now? Is your mind actually here, or is your mind where you just were, or heading forward to somewhere where you may or may not be later? And then finally, check in with your heart. Maybe even place your hands on your heart. What is the emotional state of yourself right now? It might be a lot of different states. Maybe there's one bubbling up. Is there frustration? Is there loneliness? Is there sadness? Is there joy? Just notice whatever is true for you in this moment. Not manifesting or, manufacturing any feeling, just being with whatever feeling is present here or feelings that are present here. And just taking a couple breaths of acknowledgement into however you're feeling. Whether you want to be feeling that way or not, stepping into the truth of how you really are right now. Maybe start to deepen your breath in admittance of how you're feeling right now. And then I want you to ask yourself, what do you need right now? Why did you show up to practice today? What are you here to do? And see if you can make that into a word. So if when I asked that question, you said, I feel really frustrated and angry, and I really need a sense of ease or peace. Maybe your word is ease. If loneliness is creeping into your heart, maybe the word you're working with is connection. So pick an active word that you can practice with today. And if none of this is making sense or you feel overwhelmed by having to choose a word, How would you like to feel at the end of this practice? Or what about this practice makes you keep coming back to it? Is it a sense of presence? Maybe presence is your word. Is it a reset? Maybe reset is your word. Try to get clear on a word. And if you still don't know, pick a positive word. Love, peace, present. And I'm going to keep reminding us to come back to this word, this need in our heart to exist in a way. We're going to move from that place. We're going to breathe from that place. We're going to try to create this feeling by the way that we are moving, so it's like muscle memory in our bodies. From your word, go ahead and start to breathe in that manner. How can you use the word you've chosen to create intention in your breath? How can you let the breath fill the shape of your body with this action you are taking? If your word is presence, for example, can you breathe with presence and let yourself experience your body in presence? If your word is love, can you breathe with love and let it sink and seep and expand into all parts of you? And then drawing your hands in a gesture of prayer at your heart, bowing into your intention, bowing into your word, honoring what you need today. And then from here, let's find our way to hands and knees. So setting it up, if you need to pad your knees with a blanket or a towel, please feel free to do that. The wrists are stacked underneath your shoulders. The knees are stacked underneath your hips. The fingers are wide. Lift up out of your shoulders. And then let's start to remember that breath, that word. And as we start to move into our cat-cows, can you be that word? Can you move from that place? Inhale, let your belly drop, let your heart rise. Exhale, press into your knuckles, round in your upper back. Moving from this intention, even if it's subtle. Inhale, belly drops, heart rises. Exhale, round in your upper back. 2 more times. Inhale, belly drops, heart rises. Exhale, curl everything up and in. Inhale, belly drops, heart rises. Exhale, curl everything up and in. Find your neutral spine. Keep your knees and your hips where they are. Walk your arms out farther so that they're in a wide V overhead. And then see if you can tap your forehead or the top of your head down to the mat. See if you can allow your armpits to hug in towards each other. And pretend like you were going to offer your heart for the mat. So this is an upper back stretch. Think of your word, your action. And how can you use your breath to send that word to your upper back? So if your word is love, how can you take in a breath of love and spread that love across your upper back? From here, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. We'll come in for another shoulder opener. So you'll inhale to send your left arm out to the side, and then exhale, thread the left arm underneath your right. Tap your left temple or your left cheek down to the mat. So the left arm is reaching out to the right. Maybe some gentle pressure into your right palm, especially your right knuckles. And can you breathe this word into your upper left back? What else needs to happen in your body so that that word reaches your upper left shoulder? Go ahead and press down into your right hand. Left hand stacks underneath the left shoulder. Right arm reaches out to the right. And then thread your right arm underneath your left. Tap your right cheek or temple down to the mat. Maybe some gentle pressure into your left hand. Think of your word, and with your breath, spread this word up to your upper right shoulder. Press into your left hand to rise yourself back up. Let's go ahead and come to a seat. So let's get into our necks a little bit, soften the jaw, create a little space around our shoulders. So bowing your chin into your chest, send your shoulders as far away from your ears as you can to find some space in your neck. And then take your right ear to your right shoulder. Take your chin into your chest, left ear to left shoulder. So move from the place of your word, taking it to the other side, just moving on your own. Listening to yourself, creating space in your neck with your word. Whatever it is, any word will work. Even if you're working with strength, how can you breathe with strength to find space in your neck? It's all about intention and perspective. At least that's what yoga says. Go ahead and find yourself back up to a tall spine. Just find a little lift of your heart. Send your shoulders away and then send your head back a little bit. Open up the throat. Breathe into the throat. It's not the most comfortable thing for many of us. How can you spread this word across your throat? From here, let your chin fall to parallel with the floor. Take your hands to your knees and let's just start to make some circles. Glue your hip bones down to the earth. Just start to make some circles in your spine. It doesn't have to look like mine. You can add your head and your neck a little bit. It can be a small circle. It can be a big circle. And then from here, switch the direction of your circle. So moving in the opposite way, keep your sit bones glued to the mat. From here, find your tall spine. Interlace your hands behind your back like you're holding your own hands. And then send the interlace back as you puff up your chest. Keep your shoulders away from your ears and focus on that more than getting the arms straight. If you can keep the shoulders away from the ears and get the arms straight, then you can do both. But if by taking your arms straight, your shoulders go up by your neck, let your shoulders and your neck have space. Imagine this word written across your heart and beam this intention out to whatever is in your space, to me, to the world. Notice how it feels. It's a little vulnerable to have our hearts open. Believe you can have this word. I support you having this word that you want for yourself. And then release your interlace. Let's find our way to a downward facing dog. So an inverted V. If down dog's not right for your body, you can have the forearms down. You can come to a child's pose instead. Or you're in your down dog. So bending the knees as much as you need, press into your knuckles. The hips are reaching tall, the heels are reaching down, but it doesn't matter if the legs are straight or not. Find space around your neck by pressing into your knuckles, lifting up out of the shoulders. Armpits are hugging in. So the arms are really active here. Your inner arms are hugging in for each other. You're pressing the weight down into the knuckles so the wrists are light. Let's check in with our heads and our necks. We don't need to hold our head up in this position. Really let the weight of your head be heavy. Start to find your breath, your yoga breath in and out of your nose. And then let's walk the hands back for your feet, finding yourself in a forward fold with as much bend in your knees as your legs are asking for you. So not forcing anything, grabbing the elbows, letting your fingertips dangle, let your head be heavy. Say your word to yourself, maybe even out loud. And then start to roll yourself up, feeling the power of that word, of that intention. Mountain pose, arms come out to the side, heart is reaching up, elbows are soft to the side, shoulders are rolling down. Stand in this word, stand in this intention. We're going to move from this place, find it in your breath. And then next inhale, draw your arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold your body in half. Inhale, rises the heart, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, fold yourself in half. Inhale, rise your arms tall to the sky. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Think of your word, move from your word. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise yourself up. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more round. Inhale your word. Exhale, bow to your word. Inhale, halfway lift, reaching your heart. Exhale, bow into your word. Inhale, rise your arms tall. Exhale, hands come into your heart. This time we'll inhale the arms up and pause. Ground down into your right foot. Grab your right foot. Grab your left wrist, your right wrist with your left hand, and then reach up and over to the left. So we're breathing into the right side body. Imagine this word being written across from the sides of your legs to the sides of your waist, up your arm to your fingertips. Inhale back to center, ground down into your left foot, grab your left wrist with your right hand, and then reach up and over to the right. Imagine the same thing. So starting in the base of your foot, travel this word up the sides of your legs, the sides of your waist, up your arm and out to your left fingertips. Inhale back to center and then draw your hands to your hips. Let's sink the hips back and down. So we're finding our first chair pose. So really active breath and pose. See if you can really use your word to support this pose. So if your word is love, how can you approach this with tenderness and fierce love? If your word is strength, how can you amp up your breath? If your word is presence, how can you ground your heels down and rise your heart up out of your heels? One more big, beautiful breath. Exhale, forward fold. Let's walk ourselves out to a plank. Remember, plank can be knees down on earth if you need support. Lift up out of your shoulders. So use the earth as your friend to support you. So press down to rise up, scoop your belly into your spine. We're going to come into some core work here. So if that's not what you want to do, you can come into your child's pose. Say your word to yourself, and then right knee comes to right elbow. Right foot comes back. Left knee comes to left elbow. Left foot comes back. A few more on your own. Moving from your intention, Softening your jaw, only working what really needs to work here. Know you can come into child's pose at any point if you need it. Take one more on each side or not. And then hips come to sky, downward facing dog. Let's step the right foot forward to the right hand. Back foot spins flat. We'll find our warrior one. Build the pose from the bottom. Maybe say your word. Ground down from that word and rise and grow your heart up. So almost like you were planting the seed. Can you be the flower that grows up into the word? Let's open it up, warrior two. So the right foot's gonna come in a little bit to the center of the mat, heel to arch alignment. Arms are reaching out from the shoulders. Steady your gaze over your right middle finger. This is a big, strong warrior pose. How can you be a warrior of your intention? How can you be a warrior of presence, of love, of strength? How can you feel that and experience that in the way that you are approaching this pose? Next, inhale, left arm comes down, right arm reaches up. Couple breaths into your reverse warrior. And then exhale, hands come down, step back, plank to your downward facing dog. Other side, left foot steps for left hand, back foot spins flat. Think about planting the seed of your word. So plant it into your feet, rise up like a flower growing up with this word. Press into the outer edge of your back foot, sink into your left hip. Settle your shoulders away from your ears. Soften your jaw. Steady your gaze. Let your word fill this shape so that it becomes like muscle memory in your body. Open yourself up, warrior two. So the left foot comes in to the middle of the mat. Nice big sink of your left hip. Arms are reaching out. Gaze over your left middle finger. Warrior of your intention. Show up in your breath, in your approach, in your way of moving through this shape, through our sequence, and through the world. Next, inhale, right arm comes down, left arm reaches tall, reverse warrior for a couple breaths. Inhale, warrior two. Let's extend our left leg. We're in a big wide straddle, toes point in, heels point out, hands to your hips. Rise your heart for the ceiling and then send your heart for the floor. Bending your knees as much as you need. Maybe your hands come to rest on the floor underneath your shoulders. Maybe the hands stay at the hips. See if you can find space around your neck and your jaw. Really pressing into the outer edges of your feet to support you. Hands come to your hips. Next, inhale, halfway lift. Next, exhale all the way to stand. Heel toe your feet to a little wider than your hips. Send your feet out and then send your hips down. So we're coming to our yogi squat. Remember, if this is really uncomfortable for your body, support the body. So maybe put a pillow or a blanket underneath your seat. You could put a pillow or a towel underneath your heels so that you bring the floor to you. And then once you find your yogi squat, rise your heart up to the sky. Maybe some gentle pressure on your inner knees, your inner thighs. With your palms pressing together, with your heart rising, can you see yourself as a sculpture of this word, a statue of this word? So if you were a sculpture in a museum, and I were to look at the placard underneath this posture, and the placard said the word you've chosen for yourself, how would you embody that? How would you make your seat, your position, be a position of your intention? The left arm comes down, the right arm raises up. Take a couple breaths across your heart. Draw your hands back to heart center, other side. Right hand comes down, left arm reaches away. Find a positioning of your eyes. Draw your hands back to your heart. Take your hands behind your seat and then sit yourself down. Soles of the feet come together, knees fall wide, and then take the feet as close into the body where you don't find that you're restricting, but you find that there's a little bit of tension. So we want to try to create some space in our inner thighs, but we don't want to grip or hold ourselves up. So from here, rise your heart. If you already feel a lot, you're welcome to place your hands behind your hips and lift your heart. If you want to explore a little bit deeper, maybe walk your hands out. Keep reaching your heart forward. So we're not rounding in our back. The spine is long. We're reaching our hearts forward. Really nice. How's your breath? Are you approaching this shape with your intention? Just checking in. I know I keep saying it, but I need reminded every moment. So I'm trying to remind us all to keep in the practice of being intentional. It's so easy to slip into just kind of autopilot, but yogis are masters, or at least attempters of intention. Always seeing how we are in the world and if that's how we want to be showing up in the world. On your next inhale, rise your heart, take your feet out. So we're in an L shape. Remember, you can sit up on something if the backs of the legs are not liking this. Find a softness in your knees, rise your heart, and then send your heart for your toes with as much bend in your knees as you need. Remember, we're lifting the heart, spine is long. The heart is reaching up for the toes. We're not rounding in the back. The heart is reaching. Soften your chin into your chest, release the back of your head, soften your jaw, your shoulders, your hands. Fill the shape with your breath, with your intention. On your next inhale, rise your heart. We'll bend the knees. We're going to do a little core engagement. So the knees are bent, the arms are out to the side. Pull your belly into your spine, rise your heart, and then using your belly strength, start to set your low back down on the mat, your mid back down on the mat, and your upper back down. Let your head release. Take your feet in slightly so the knees are stacked over the ankles. Fingertips graze the heels. We're going to come in for 2 bridge poses. So pressing down into your feet, rise your thighs with your intention. Knees point forward. Either press into your forearms and maybe find a little tuck under of your shoulders, or you interlace the hands and find a tuck of your shoulders. See if you can really press down to rise up. Settle the shoulders away from your ears. One more big breath here. And then exhale, set the hips down. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Take a breath. One more time. Press into your feet, rise your thighs. Move from a place of intention. Find the positioning of the arms, either forearms pressing down or interlacing hands, tucking shoulders, rising the thighs up, pointing the knees forward, pressing into the heels. Very active pose. Breath is flowing, jaw is soft. One more breath. Exhale everything down. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Take a full inhale, full exhale. Take your feet a little wider than your hips or mat's distance if you have a mat. Knees fall in towards one another. Fallen bridge. And then knees come side to side. From here, let's roll over to our bellies. So it doesn't matter if you're facing the back. Just find yourself on your belly. Arms are down at your side, palms are up. Tap your forehead or your chin down on the mat. Start to send your fingertips towards your feet so your arms get active. Send your toes towards the back and then lift up in your heart, lift up in your thighs. Superman, superwoman, find length more than height. So see how far you can reach your head away from your toes, your fingertips away from your shoulders. Take one more breath. Exhale everything down. Right cheek comes to the mat. Let everything be soft and heavy. Let the energy settle down. Forehead taps down or chin taps down. One more round. Reach your fingertips for your feet. Arms are active. Toes are reaching back for the back of your space. Heart starts to reach forward. Shoulders reaching away from your ears. Lift up. Get long. Crown of the head is reaching as far from the feet as possible. House your breath. Use your intention to fill the shape of this pose with that word, with that way of being. One more big breath here. Tap everything down. Left cheek comes down. Let it all go. Let your body be heavy. From here, take your hands underneath your shoulders, press yourself back, child's pose. So knees come wide, big toes come together to touch, sink your hips back through your heels, and then either taking your arms up and overhead or down by your feet. Really be in a posture of surrender. If your forehead doesn't touch, you can stack your fists underneath your forehead. Really give your forehead a place to rest. From here, using the least amount of energy as you can, lift yourself up and find yourself onto a comfortable position on your back. So for those of you who have low back stuff, it might be most comfortable to set yourself up for what looks like a bridge pose where your knees are bent over your feet. If you don't have low back stuff, I recommend laying flat and taking your hands down by your hips with your palms up. So from here, I'm just going to come up so I can talk us through some breath. Go ahead and let your body settle down. Let your bones be really heavy. Let your muscles be really soft. We're going to come into our 3 count inhale with a long exhale from the mouth. Go ahead and let your breath come out. Through your nose, inhale to your belly and pause. Same inhale to your heart. Pause. Same inhale reaches the very top of your head. Sigh the breath out your mouth. 2 more times. Inhale breath to your belly and pause. Inhale breath to your beautiful heart and pause. Inhale breath to the very top of your head and pause. From your mouth, sigh it out. Last one. Inhale breath to belly and pause. Inhale breath to heart and pause. Inhale breath to top of head and pause. From your mouth, long, full sigh out. Allow the body to breathe itself as it wants. And for our guided meditation today, I want you to think of the word you've chosen for your practice, what it is you're here to do, what it is you need. And if this word were a color, what would that color be? So there's no right or wrong. So if strength was a color, what would it be? If peace was a color, what would it be? If connection was a color, what would it be? And then we're going to paint this color across the body, almost like we're washing the body with a full intention of this word. So starting with the soles of your feet, start to color this intention into your feet, ankles, the shins and the backs of the calves. Paint this word across your knees, your thighs, across your hips and your low back, filling this color into your belly, into your mid-back, into your upper back and your shoulders, filling this word across your heart, letting this word really fill into your heart. Letting this word fill across your collarbone, down both your arms to elbows, forearms to wrists, to hands. Allowing this word to travel back up your arms to your neck, to your throat, maybe to the way that you will choose to speak in the world today. Painting this color down your jaw, letting it fill your tongue and your mouth, your cheeks. Letting this color fill into your nose with breath. Filling this color, this word, into your eyes and your eyelids, your eyelashes and your eyebrows. Into ears and sound, the way you'll hear things today, with love, with strength, with peace. Filling this word into your forehead, letting it seep and sink into your thoughts, maybe choosing to approach your thoughts with this word, with this action. Finally, to the top of the head, paint this word into your hair from root to tip. And then finally, just looking down at your entire body, feeling your body as this word. Taking a few final breaths into your intention, into the way that you would like to be and exist. And then before we sink off into Shavasana, I invite you here to think of one small way you can take this feeling, this action, into your life when you leave your mat. How can you approach others with this intention, with this word? Just think of one small thing. See yourself doing it. See yourself being it. Knowing the benefits of your small actions on the world. Knowing your responsibility to the world, to others. From here, letting that go for just a minute, we'll sink off into Shavasana, final rest. Just being in the experience of however you feel for about a minute. From here, starting to bring some deeper breaths into your body. Starting to find some small movements to wake yourself back up into your body. And eventually rolling over to your right side, making a little pillow for your head with your inner arm. Say your intention to yourself one more time here. Feel the earth filling with that intention. And then, like you're planting a seed, rise yourself up from the earth. Drawing your hands in a gesture of prayer at your heart, bowing your chin into your chest. And I just want to finish our time together with this question. So I started asking you what you need today. Now that you've created space for yourself, what does your world need? What does your community need of you today? Really ask yourself. Maybe a new word is coming up. Maybe the same word is coming up. Can you make a little vow right now to show up with what your community needs? With your full self, with your full intention. Really breathe into that intention. And then as many times as you can remind yourself today, can you move from this place? So yoga says that our suffering and our joy is wrapped up in other people's suffering and joy. And the practice is really a way of knowing ourselves so that we can know the truths of others and try to create a world that is just and beautiful for all beings. The light in me acknowledges the light in all your beautiful hearts. I'm so grateful you're a part of my community, of the Grand Park community. We all need each other right now. Let's support each other. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much for being here. Go out in the world and use this word, please. Okay, namaste.